What's up, guys? I am here at my tennis club in sunny southern Spain, Marbella. Not so sunny today, but a beautiful rainy day. And I am taking a breather just as Bitcoin is taking a breather as well. And I'm going to update you in hopefully less than 10 minutes about all the important news going on right now, 3 big ideas, and exactly how I see Bitcoin playing out for the entirety of this cycle, the rest of this year and next year, and exactly what you should be doing now. So if you like that, stay tuned, smash that subscribe, let me know where you are tuning in from, and go outside and catch a breath of fresh air yourself. Take a break from the screens. It's all going to be okay. In fact, it's going to be more than okay. It's going to be absolutely fantastic year. We are going to crush it. Millionaires will be made, but only if you do these specific strategies that I'm going to speak about in this video. So without further ado, I'm your host, Megan Nilsson, aka Crypto Megan. And let's get right into it. So first things first is to just all be on the same page about what Bitcoin actually is. And everybody is becoming more and more aware around the world that Bitcoin is a hedge to inflation, and it's money reimagined and re-engineered, a clean blank slate where we get to start fresh and build bigger, better, faster, stronger finance and have sovereignty over our own money, aka escape the rat race, get out from under the financial mess that is happening in the traditional financial world, where people are losing up to 40% of their spending power and potentially 20 hard years of work over the past 50 years because of the money printer printing money into oblivion. And now let's start off with the bullish catalyst for this year. We've got the Bitcoin ETFs that were just launched, all 11 of them, and very successful, I might add. More on that in a minute, as well as the halving coming up, where Bitcoin will get even more scarce with a supply shock coming in as the demand is even higher, and a potential Ethereum ETF to be confirmed as soon as May, some experts say. And it is election year and an inevitable money printing year as well. So with all of those bullish catalysts on the horizon, we are primed and set up for success. So here's exactly what I believe Bitcoin is going to do in the medium to farther term, so throughout the next year and the coming year, 2025, and how this will affect your altcoins. That being said, the next 1 to 3 months may be the most important months of your investing career to date, and it is important for you to get this right. So let's recap what happened post Bitcoin ETF. Bitcoin surged up to 48,000 and change, and then it came crashing down, back down to the lower 40,000s, had some people afraid. And let me just tell you, if you're fearful of Bitcoin correcting off of these tops after rallying for so high, you're going to get chewed up and spit out in these markets. And I don't want that, guys. These kind of pullbacks are so normal in a bull market, and you should not be getting bearish when we're in a bull market. The trend is your friend until proven otherwise, and that is how you're going to win this cycle. So we hit up to the $48,000 level, which is the 0.78 fib on the monthly level, and this is exactly what we've done in previous cycles. So the more things change, the more they stay the same. Does that mean that the Bitcoin ETF, it failed and it's not working and they tricked us? No, absolutely not. In fact, when the gold ETF launched, it had a similar trajectory, and it was much less of a big deal in magnitude, and it definitely did correct before going on its exponential run. So here's what's happening. Here's why basically things are correcting right now. Apart from the fact that this was already baked into the way the cycles have gone for the past 3 to 4 cycles now. As for the Bitcoin ETF, it did 10 billion in volume in the first 3 days of being traded. And just to give you an idea, that is bigger than all 500 ETFs launched in the year 2023 combined. So it is, in fact, a massive success. But why then is it dumping? Well, first of all, apart from it being in the charts, which remember, I always say, show me the charts and I'll tell you the news. The fact is that we had a lot of leverage and a lot of people were long, but there was also some sell pressure involved as Grayscale, for example, people's holdings in Grayscale were being charged really high fees, 1.5%. So we saw a big outflow of Grayscale customers. That had some sell pressure. It was about 4,000 Bitcoin, so a total of $180 million in sell pressure, either to migrate to other Bitcoin ETFs or just to reinvest into other areas. We're not sure on that, but that is part of the sell pressure. And also it triggered a cascade effect. So all of the longs are getting liquidated. And, as much as we don't like to see pullbacks and people get scared and bearish, I mean, all the leverage gets wiped out and we're able to start fresh with a clean slate and start rebuilding and consolidate in order to have our next massive run. Now, 48K is a very, very important level on the charts. It's basically the bull run doors. Once we break 48K, we are off to the races and most likely off to all-time highs. Now, when do I think that will happen? Well, par for the course, this second phase of the bull run usually lasts about 200 days, and we're about 75 days into it. So just based on those kind of metrics, we'll have about 2 to 4 months consolidation, either just to the right or down and to the right, coming through the halving, and then a massive explosion, probably sometime around the May area, right after the Bitcoin halving. And based on some other metrics, like Eric Crown, one of my favorite analysts in this space, the volatility indicator paired with the directional oscillator says that we are now at current lows in volatility. And although we might have a bounce up to about $46,000 in the near term, the next few days, actually, we should know by Sunday, if we fail to get above $46,500 for Bitcoin, then you could see a much larger correction. Most likely, we will try to set in a monthly higher low. And that is exactly what it sounds like, a higher low. That is a bullish thing, although it'll shake a lot of people out in doing so. And I really hope that you watching this channel are not going to be one of those that gets shaked out, because this is the opportunity of a lifetime and we're right here. You have 2 to 4 months to completely change your life. Do not get shaken out. Do not try to time the market. If people are to ask me, well, should I sell and jump back in when Bitcoin does this massive correction in the next 2 to 4 months? No, my answer would be no. Even if you pulled the trigger now on altcoins and they went 30 to 40% lower, I mean, I would look at it as an opportunity to buy more at that point. Not financial advice, just what I'm doing and just how I have been massively successful at playing these markets. So that's right, what you heard. In the next 2 to 4 months, we may very well have a correction to revisit our lows in our foundational structure from the first phase of the bull run, which is right around the $30,000 level. Now, do I think it will hit the $30,000 level? I wouldn't bet on it. And I wouldn't put a buy order in there. In fact, my buy orders are in the $35,000 to $36,000 area, because I am not trying to time the bottom. I just want to get a relatively good price. So we could potentially be looking at a $50,000 Bitcoin in the, April to May area, crypto spring, going on into crypto summer. So what does that mean for your precious altcoins that some may pump, up to 20x this cycle and beyond? One of those being Cardano. In my opinion, I believe Cardano can do a 15 to 20x even from current prices. So if we do go lower, I consider that an opportunity. And one top analyst predicts that XRP is on the verge of a 500% pump. That would be a 5x. And the place that gets explosive for XRP is the 75-cent mark. If we can get past that 75-cent mark, fireworks, guys. We are right there knocking on those bull market doors. And this is how I'm playing it. So if things go per previous cycles and the indicators are correct and the statistics say more than likely, if we do not break above 46,500 by about Monday time, then we will be starting to go into this correction. Altcoins may consolidate. We might have a mini altcoin run as Bitcoin consolidates, but the real fireworks should come after the halving. So that being said, am I buying now or am I waiting? I'm buying now. I'm buying next month, and I'm buying into the halving, because this is historically the absolute best time to get those altcoin fire sales. And that is what I'm doing. I've been positioning all of the bear market, and now I'm just adding to my positions as we come into this extraordinary year full of a lot of bullishness. Now, I'm going to get into a few news stories just to give you the update on what's happening in the background, and we will end this episode with a motivational note. So I don't know if you've stopped to think about the reason why. Why now has Blackrock flipped the switch? Why now have they applied for a Bitcoin ETF and got this whole race going? I mean, if you look at their trajectory, I think they're like some crazy number that they've only ever been rejected for one ETF in the history of their application. So basically, if BlackRock's applying it's a go. We must know that it's a go and it's going to happen eventually. So why did they apply now? Have they suddenly just woken up to the beauty and the magic that is Bitcoin? Well, if you pay attention to their commercials now for boomers and the marketing and what people are saying on the news, like in a clip I showed in my YouTube yesterday, they are marketing this as the better way to buy Bitcoin, the easier way, the safer way, because Coinbase is responsible, because the custodians are now responsible, so you don't have to worry about it. But you and I both know that that is just paper money, and that is not your Bitcoin, not your keys, not your crypto. However, it is true that it is easier for the boomer generation and for many people, for many reasons, regulatory, accounting, etc., retirement plans, that they must purchase it this way. However, Blackrock is, portraying it along with all the other ETFs that this is the best way to buy Bitcoin. Now, the question is why? We get some insight into this matter through one of my favorite people in the space, the ex-CEO of BitMEX, Arther Hayes. And I just think his views on this and on the macroeconomic situation as a whole are very profound and shed a lot of light on what's happening. So Arther Hayes basically explains it as Blackrock is hedging the traditional finance system, but still keeping you in it through the Bitcoin ETF. So they're saying, okay, they're calling it a flight to safety. They're priming you and prepping you to believe that this is the future and that your Bitcoin is safe with them and that you better stay in their system. So they created this system through a Blackrock Bitcoin ETF, according to Arther Hayes' theory, that so that when and if, in my opinion, it's just a when, the massive financial mess in the traditional financial world becomes too big and people start running, flocking away from banks, panicking, where should I put their money? Well, they won't actually be exiting the traditional financial system. They'll still be with BlackRock. They'll just be with BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF, and BlackRock will still manage their money and nothing will be different. So that is my opinion on, that's Arther Hayes' opinion, and I would agree that I think it's a hedge for BlackRock against the traditional finance system, and to have that in place for when that cascading outflow of capital happens. Although it won't be a true outflow, you won't be exiting the system, you'll still be in it, but you'll be in BlackRock's hands in the Bitcoin ETF. So that is an interesting theory, and I think it makes a lot of sense. And finally, now that you've got a simple strategy to absolutely crush it in these markets in the coming months, what is the final kind of like icing on the cake? Well, Tether, the USDT stablecoin, has had a lot of FUD in the years about not being backed. And it's been kind of like one of those, creepers in the closet that could cause a massive destruction if people determine that it is in fact corrupt and it's not backed one-to-one. And, auditors just came out, or private auditors came out and said, actually, everything is backed. It's all good. So it looks like we have the green light, at least for this cycle, to get through this cycle with Tether. Because one thing you have to understand too is that all the scams are exposed in the bear markets. The holes are exposed in the bear markets and easily covered up in the bull markets. So, now that they've come out and said that, I think we've cleared that for the time being. And the other big news is the Coinbase versus SEC court date with Judge Fala, which has already started. So Coinbase has filed for dismissal, claiming that the SEC did not have grounds to sue it. And the SEC obviously wants this to go to trial. So the question is, how long will it take for the judge to decide? And what do I think will happen? So legal experts are saying that usually in a case like this, it'll take anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks. So let's just say 1 to 2 months, we could have an answer. And what are the possible outcomes that will affect crypto and essentially the altcoins and what you need to know? So in that 1 to 2 month time span, if the judge dismisses the case completely, it would be a huge win for crypto. It would definitely set the tone going forward, and you'd probably see a massive altcoin boom. So that would be right around like pre-halving time. What do I think is more likely? I think the most likely case scenario is that the judge may dismiss it, but allow some room for the SEC to refile and, get back to the drawing board and come back with something different that is more fitting, something along those lines. And then the last option is that the judge allows this to go into discovery, and that would mean a full-on trial based on the allegations at play right now. And both of those latter two situations would drag this on for upwards of a year or more, just like the XRP case. And, that could really put a damper on things short term, but long term, inevitably, we will move forward, we will get clarity, and this will all be behind us. How do I think that'll affect altcoins? Well, I think that either way, altcoins are going to rally. They're going to explode this cycle. You know, if we get some clarity, if the case is dismissed, it would be even more exponential in my opinion. And it would unlock the floodgates to certain cryptos that have been really suppressed throughout the years, and especially XRP. But I think that we have really bright times ahead of us, and regardless of what happens with this case, it'll just make it either less bullish or more bullish, but we're still on track for a phenomenal year. I'll keep you posted on how that case is going. It's looking okay right now, so we'll just keep an eye on it. And I hope you're having a fantastic week, and it's time to get your strategy in place. It's time to get serious, guys. Let's crush it. Millionaires will be minted this cycle. You're all going to be massively successful if you just stick with it and you don't give up and you don't get shaken out. So that's all I got today. Thanks for tuning in. For those of you who stayed to the end, this is what dedication looks like. I'm here. I'm just focused on crypto, bringing you guys the best content. I just did some intervals now on the Stairmaster here at our tennis club, and man, there's nothing better than getting in your best physical shape in order to be sharp mentally. And I made a promise to you guys that I would bring you the best content possible, the best information possible to help you succeed and be financially free. And in order to do that, you've got to push yourself outside your comfort zone. And why not be today? Why not make that day today? Join me in this challenge. I'm going to get in the best freaking shape of my life. This is what the best shape of my life looked like before. And now I'm headed back there again. I want to be there by the halving. So that's almost a 3-month challenge. And my husband is an elite personal trainer, as well as the owner of one of the biggest personal training schools here in Europe. So he is giving away to one lucky winner a 3-month challenge to get in the best shape of your life. And I will be raffling off a free entry to my Telegram group worth a value of $600 per year to one lucky winner. So comment below fitness to freedom if you want to make today your day, because I'm telling you, there's nothing better and there will be no bigger change in your life than the day you just decide to go for it. So that's it. And I'll see you tomorrow.